Today, we are diving into a really fascinating story of transformation. We're going to look at how the ancient Tamil kingdom of Cheranadu, a place known for its global traders and incredible craftsmen, became the Malayalam-speaking state we all know today as Kerala. It's a story that literally reshaped an entire culture, so let's get right into it. So this is the big question we're trying to unpack, right? How did a region so deeply rooted in Tamil culture and language completely evolve into a brand new, distinct identity? Well, the answer is a wild ride through trade, technology, migration, and power dynamics that stretches across more than 2,000 years. All right, let's rewind the clock. We're going way back, over 2,000 years ago. The land we now call Kerala was then known as Cheranadu, and this was a powerful, super prosperous kingdom ruled by Tamil kings, and it was just this vibrant center of Tamil culture. And you've got to understand, this wasn't just any kingdom. The Cheras were huge players on the world stage. Their legendary port, Muziris, was this bustling gateway to the world, connecting them with traders from as far away as Egypt and Arabia. They were also serious tech innovators, and the things archaeologists have dug up show they were absolute master artisans, especially with metalwork. Now, this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Let's talk about the global impact of their tech. The Cheras developed this incredible high-carbon steel called Wootz steel. And get this. This is the very same steel that was exported and became the raw material for those legendary Damascus steel swords. You know, the ones famous for being unbelievably strong and sharp during the Crusades. So yeah, an ancient Tamil technology was shaping medieval world history. So while the people living there call their home Cheranadu, another name was already floating around. Way back, like 2,300 years ago, inscriptions from the great Mauryan Emperor Ashoka in North India called the region Keralaputra. That basically translates to the land of the Cheras or son of Kerala. This just goes to show you that the name Kerala has incredibly ancient roots, even if it wasn't what the locals called it day to day back then. But, things change. Over time, the power of those Chera kings started to weaken. And that decline really set the stage for a massive transformation, one that would end up reshaping the land's language, its politics, and its entire identity for centuries to come. And as you can see from this timeline, this wasn't some overnight thing. It was a really slow burn, an evolution that took nearly 1,000 years. It kicked off with the Chera power getting weaker after an invasion around the 4th century. Then, centuries later, a new, very influential group arrived from North India, and that ultimately paved the way for the birth of a whole new literary tradition by the 12th century. So, here's the crucial 1-2 punch that changed everything. First, the central power of the Chera kings gets shaky. Then, into this power vacuum come the Nambudiri Brahmins. They were a priestly class that migrated from North India, and over time, they gained a ton of influence in the political and cultural life of the region. And this huge cultural shift led to probably the most significant change of all, the language itself. The very words people were speaking started to evolve. A new language, Malayalam, was literally being forged from the building blocks of the old one. So how did they do it? The main tool for this incredible language shift was a literary style called Manipravalam. And the name itself, which means rubies and coral, is just perfect. It paints a picture of what was happening, a conscious, very deliberate blending of Sanskrit, the language of the newcomers, with the local Tamil, which was the mother tongue of the land. And this quote really gets to the heart of it. This wasn't just people casually mixing a few words here and there. No, this was a deliberate, conscious process. It created a completely new literary language that slowly but surely split off from its original Tamil roots. And what was the result? Well, by the 12th century, you see the first great work of literature in this new language, the Ramacharitam. It was written completely in that Manipravalam style, and it really marks the moment that Malayalam stood on its own 2 feet as a literary language, totally distinct from Tamil. So, this linguistic and cultural shift was basically cemented by one final political break. This dissolved what was left of the Old Kingdom and gave rise to a whole new identity. And, according to the source we're looking at, new tensions that we can still see today. The final nail in the coffin for a unified Cheranadu came in the 11th century. The very last Chera king, Ramavarma Kulasekara, literally broke the kingdom apart into 17 smaller territories. And with that single act, the centralized Tamil authority that had ruled for centuries was just gone. Forever. The old identity shattered, and the people of the region started to build a new one as Malayalis. Okay, so here's where we need to be really clear. The source material we're explaining doesn't just stop in the past. It brings this story right into the modern era and makes some very strong claims. It alleges that when India's state borders were drawn, several Tamil-majority areas were wrongly given to Kerala. The source also describes a relationship marked by hostility and points to environmental problems like waste from Kerala allegedly being dumped in Tamil Nadu. We're presenting this perspective directly from the source so you can understand its full viewpoint. And all of this leaves us with a pretty deep question to think about. The journey from Cheranadu to Kerala is such a powerful story of how culture and language can evolve. It really makes you wonder, when a place transforms that completely, what is the real connection between its past and its present? How much of that original identity can ever truly remain?